was recently unearthed and unveiled to the entire internet and is spreading like motherfucking wildfire that Nintendo filed a patent to have a system, an actual game console, that will exclude entirely an optical drive. So no discs of any sort. No actual physical disc for this system. Now, considering that we have the NX, which is just on the fucking horizon, but we have very few details about it. I'm talking it's extremely scarce. Any info that you can dig up on it because Nintendo's been very, well, hush-hush about it. We don't know the specs, release date, games, we don't know what it looks like aesthetically, we know nothing. But this patent kind of paints a picture of what we could potentially be seeing, or maybe this is something new entirely. We know that Nintendo's been dabbling in a whole lot of different stuff as of late, and this could be that, or we could actually just begin the tip of the iceberg as to what the NX is going to have for us in the future. Many people out there always debate about whether they want to have physical games or if they're okay with just having digital-only games, and that's a debate that everybody can have, but if Nintendo's next console is going to be digital-only, well, what could that spell for its entire fanbase? But not to go and completely freak out over something like this, the exclusion of an optical drive doesn't necessarily mean that the system's not going to have physical games on it. If you look at something similar to the 3DS or the DS, they use something that's very similar to actual little SD cards. So, little flash memory, just imagine like the Hue cards almost from TurboGrafx and the PC Engine and all that shit. Just imagine if they adopted a medium like that for their games going forth into the future. That's something that's not entirely out of question. Hell, this could be something that it could be a small, very cheap alternative to try to get maybe eShop games onto the big screen instead of relying solely on your actual handhelds for the 3DS and the 2DS. That could be something along those lines. Just trying to go and throw guesses out there. Hell, they could actually have a system that's catering only to the virtual console in general. The idea of something like that isn't all that bad, especially when you look at stuff like the Chromecast and Fire TV and the Roku and all the other shit out there. If Nintendo decided that they want to go and enter a field like that, but make it something that's gaming-centric, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But then again, we already know that a digital future is something that's going to end up happening. It's something that most of the major manufacturers out there have been striving for just because it will save them a shit ton of money. They already know that, and you're going to have to rely solely on their service. If you want any games at all, you'll have to go to them. There won't be any secondhand dealings whatsoever, so they're always going to be reaping the benefits financially and monetarily. So this could be a future for the NX, or they could just decide they don't want to have the disk drives anymore. I mean, more moving parts is always going to mean that it's more expensive to produce, the fact that it could go and break down, tons of other shit. I mean, I can't count the amount of game consoles out there that are disc-based that have had to have the lasers or the actual drives replaced entirely. Hell, I've had to go and do it myself on a PlayStation 3 and on a PlayStation 2, and that's just me personally. So the idea that the system manufacturers want to go and get away from that kind of stuff, again, not all that shocking. But I think about what it could mean. Could it mean SD cards going from that point forward, since they already have a lot of games that are just like that? I mean, you know, they've kind of been dabbling in for a long ass time, but consoles haven't had that in fucking ages. I mean, the closest thing that you can even get to something like that is actually the PlayStation TV, which fucking nobody buys at all. That shit's like fucking bargain basement prices, and motherfuckers are still like, yeah, no, just saying. All these middle fingers don't know what to do with them all. But right now, the technology is at a point that we can go and get fucking well over 100 gigabytes on a single SD card, and that shit's fucking fast as hell. And it was talking about having a little slot on there that's for read and write, so who knows? That could just be one of the things that it's trying to include in there, because obviously you don't want to exclude it, because you, for whatever fucking reason, depending on what the hell the system's trying to go and cater towards, but who the hell knows? Right now, speculation, entirely. But I could go off for a million different hours as to what this could potentially be or mean. It could be a new system altogether. I mean, think about all the different things that Nintendo's doing right now. They're now starting to jump into the entire mobile market. You know, they got the NX that's on the horizon. There was talk of trying to go and bridge a gap between the handhelds and the consoles, so maybe the NX is going to be doing something like that through a means of this, not having to go and rely on the optical drive for it. How? I, again, do not know because, well, it's Nintendo. But they're always willing to go and take that first step in doing some shit that most motherfuckers wouldn't ever dare to. And it's a gamble, sure enough. But if they are making a system right now, if they're assuming that the NX is going to have no physical games whatsoever, would that be a deal breaker for you? Now, if they were switching over from discs to little Hue cards, SD cards style games, then would you be okay with something like that? I don't see how anybody would be like, no, I prefer my damn disc, have it on there. I don't see how anybody would care, but this could come up with the whole entire debate of physical versus digital. So if Nintendo decided to go all digital from here on out, what do you think of that? Do you think that I might have something whenever it comes to them trying to have a digital-only little system just for a virtual console or the eShop, and it's just its own standalone thing? Who the hell knows? I mean, this could actually be a variation of the Wii U, and it's just all downloads. Because plenty of the Wii U games are available digitally, so this could just be a variant of the console that they put out there to make it cheaper for them. Never really thought about that, but you never know. Again, 1,000,001 different options out there, but is this a deal breaker for you? Who the fuck knows? Either way, this is AlphaOmegaSin. As always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers game the fuck on.